Welcome to my studio, Atelier Flow, just north of Stockholm in Sweden. I will show you some art journaling. I love art journaling. It's a way for me to relax. I try new things in my art journals, and I'm very free when I work in my art journals. I art journal both in old books, and I just work straight into the books with no actual preparations before. And I do a lot of art journaling in books that I make myself. I do art journals or create or make art journals out of scrap paper and fabric, scrap from other paintings that I do. Art journaling for me is really a way to find my creative spirit, find the spark within myself. When I work in my art journals, I very seldom have a picture of what I'm going to do. I just start working on a spread, and I just see what happens when I let myself just be totally free with no expectations or pictures of what I'm going to create. And that's what I have done today as well in this class. I started off with a spread in this old book. It's a really beautiful old book. And I started with collage and added paint and collaged again, and then I finally drew this little face on top of the collage and paint. And I hope I can inspire you to just do and not think too much of what it's going to become. I inspire you to open the book up and actually spend some time and do things that you enjoy, and use techniques, colors, supply that you really enjoy working with. I'm trying not to use too much supply. I'm using scrap papers, I'm using some acrylic paint, I'm using a Stabilo oil pencil, some stamps, and yeah, I think that's it actually. I hope I will inspire you to open up an old book and bring some art supply out and just do. And not think too much. Give yourself the time to be creative. Give yourself some time to find your little spark of happiness inside you, and do some art. Yeah, I hope you like the video. I hope you enjoy the time and have fun. Okay. I will work in this little book. It's an old book that I'm using as an art journal, and I will make a spread in this book. Okay, I got some collage paper out of my stacks of collage papers. It's this, I think, is a napkin, pieces from a book, some scrapbook papers or pieces of scrapbook paper, and this is an old picture from another art journal that or another book that I'm using as an art journal. There was a couple of magazine pages and just an old paper bag. Yeah, so I haven't been thinking about colors, I haven't been thinking about patterns or motif or anything. I'm just pulled some of these out. You see there are quite a lot of different colors. We'll see. I will just start. I'm using matte medium and a palette knife. And yeah, let's just start. I put the medium on the whole page to kind of make the page a little bit more sturdy and soak in a bit to help the book to keep together. I will put the paper over the middle of the book page to also help the book to keep together and become a bit stronger. These old books usually kind of fall apart. Doesn't really matter if they do. Okay, I'm pulling off the excess medium from the page, and then I will put some plastic sheets in between the pages here so they don't stick together like that. And then I'll let this dry, and then I'll continue on top of it. Okay, now my page is dry. My paper has curled a bit here, but that will be fixed in the next layers and when we get more paint and collage onto this. So what you can do when this happens is to put one of these on, just to hold them a bit. Just a little clip of some sort. Okay. I will go over with some, just some white paint first, just a little bit. This is Titan Buff, so it's a tinted white. Just a little bit to kind of get the page to, and the collage pieces to kind of be bound together or connected in a way. I really like this white on top of my collage like that. And then I will put a little bit of color, some paint, acrylic paint on it as well. I will pick up the colors that are already in my piece. I will use some kind of sap green. It's not really green this, but I will use a sap green. I will use a violet, and then I will use a teal color, and then a yellow, an iron oxide yellow. You don't need to use golden. Golden is really beautiful acrylic paint, but you can use any acrylic paint. Pick what you have and just kind of concentrate on what you do instead of the actual material or the quality of the material. So I will put a little bit of green here. Oh, that's quite a lot. I'll just work and have fun with these colors. Okay, and then I will have fun with my yellow. And then I always have a paper where I can spread out paint if I get too much. And then I have a little bit of my purple here. And I love to mix
purple and orange, which makes a really kind of orangey, dirty kind of look. And as you see, when I work in my art journals, I often don't even use a palette. I kind of squirt a little bit of paint on top of my journal, and I mix my colors, and I work with straight on the book. And then some teal. Whoops. I guess it wanted to be a lot of teal because this was more than I was going to put on, but that doesn't matter. So something wanted a lot of teal, so I'll go with that and see what I do with a lot of teal on this page. I scraped some off, and that I put on my little piece of paper that I will use as collage paper later on. Might have a little bit more white. Now my collage papers are almost gone here, but the structure and the inspiration from them was there to start with. So they have definitely, even if you cover something of your layers below, underneath, they have definitely had an impact on what you are doing and the end result, because the papers, they have a lot of texture that will come through the paint, and the actual colors of the papers made me pick the colors that I wanted to put on top of them. I will actually take away a little bit of the paint here and see if I can get some of the papers back. I love putting on both collage and paint and other things and then actually lift it off, because I really think it becomes interesting texture and patterns, and I don't really have control in what comes forward when I lift something off like this. I really think that's a fun way of working, and with the acrylic paint you can really do that, and the longer you wait, and depending on what types of paints you have, different things will come off. By putting on and taking off, you get this effect of it looking worn and a little bit of grunge, and I, as you know, love that. I think I will let this dry properly so I can put another layer on top of it without moving this layer. I think this looks quite cool as it is. I will, as I said, I will actually glue together a couple of pages just to make the pages a little bit sturdier. You can do this with any glue actually, so if you want to have a cheaper glue than the matte medium, you could use that for gluing the pages together, because this is nothing you will paint on top. I will use a glue stick for this, but you can use any glue. So I will put some plastic in between again so they don't stick. There we go. Cool. So this will dry and then we will continue. Okay, this is dry. And my pages are dry that I glued together. Now they are much more sturdy. That's really cool. Good. Let's see. I will do a little bit more collage and then some white paint. And my collage I will focus around a focal point somewhere on the page. I think I will do it up here. So this part will be my kind of focal point, maybe a little bit further down here. I'm just putting in some lines, not for my, like that. I will do a little bit of collage around here. I used, when I did my focal point here, I used a Stabilo All. It's a water soluble pencil that you can draw on plastic and glass and metal, so it's really good on the acrylic paint. It's water soluble, so that will move around a bit now when I go on with my matte medium, but I don't worry about that. I like when it gets really grungy and so on. So I will put on a little bit of medium and I will use my palette knife. And then I always save a lot of scraps when I do collage and pages. I always keep all the bits that I rip off from different things. I love these small pieces and I love to put them on to my pages in a very meditative way. So I just have a bunch of these lying around and I will pick one up and I'll put them on the side and I will just see where they fit into this particular page. See, I have some more here. Okay. So I will spread this out and then I will turn on some music for you guys and I will just kind of work around these lines here. And then I will go over with some tinted white again. And I'm doing this back and forth many times, putting layers on, muting them down, putting layers on, muting them down, in a very kind of meditative and slow process. And it gives a fantastic texture and depth into your page. But the real value of it is the process, the mindful adding of layers. So this is a tinted white again, and then I will go over with some titanium white, some pure white. But I will. Okay, now I will get some titanium white on top of it, or parts of it. Make it even. Okay, now it's all dry, and I feel I'm very happy with this page. I will just put a very simple face in here. I will use my non-dominant hand, and I will just kind of draw something in here, a shape. And some eyes, nose. Okay, I will spray it, and I will just fill out some of the lines with my dominant hand. And because it's water soluble, it will give quite dark, and it will run a bit. I will let it dry. This might move while it's drying a bit. I might put something underneath here because I'm kind of leaning that way. Okay, now it's dry. I will go over with some white paint. Just grab a little bit in the lid. And just mark some of the spots where the face have some highlights and some really light parts, just to make it look a bit more three-dimensional. It's not supposed to be a beautiful face or anything. I'm just kind of playing around a bit. And the black Stabilo ore will move a bit now, because even though it's activated, it's not permanent, so it will move when I'm painting with white on top of the black, but that doesn't matter. I like that. And also, if I want it really white, I'll just go over again, because as soon as this white paint is dry, it will be possible to paint over again. Okay, so now I've gone over with a little bit of white. I'll let this dry, and then I will go over with the pen a little bit and just outline some of the features again. So I'll do that later on when it's dry. Some stamps to get some hair or something. Or yeah, that's what I will do. I have some stamps here, and I will use I think I will use a Payne's gray maybe in a little bit. Payne's gray. Yeah, and here I have my stamp, and I have a makeup sponge, dry, with a little bit of paint. I dab it on that stamp, and then okay. I will also put some Payne's gray around the edges of my page. I love darkening the edges of the pages. They look a bit worn and grungy. Cool. I will do two more things to the page. I will go over with my Stabilo All pencil once more and fill out some of the features, and then I will put some copper paint on this, some iridescent copper, some metallic on her hair here, but it needs to dry a little bit first. I will start with the pencil. hope you enjoyed that, and hope to see you in another class. Bye.